Padres are looking at the 60-game season and where they are and thinking, we got ourselves a real shot this year. Yeah, but what about it's only a 60-game season, and are people going to really think it's for real? Forget about all that. They've made a decision to go for it. It reminds me of a few years ago when they had Matt Kemp and Justin Upton and James Shields and all those guys they went out and got and said, we're going for it. Well, it didn't exactly work out that time. This time they're into it. They're halfway into the season and they've made the decision. We think we're good. We may not win it, but we're probably in a position to get to the postseason. If we upgrade, we got ourselves a shot. And for that, that's the headline. I applaud the Padres for what they're trying to do. I really, really do. Of course, there's a concern, which is, does it upset everything that's going on, all the fun they're having, the clubhouse, the chemistry, all that? Or maybe it just tells everybody in the clubhouse, dude, we don't need Austin Hedges. We needed better from that position. Good thing they went and got rid of that guy. I'm giving an example. So with all of that said, good afternoon. Monday, happy to have you. Hola, hermano numero uno, grande Alejandro. Alex, you're probably the most tuned in Padre fan of the three of us, although I'm sure Browner will debate that. I'm sure Browner is also very happy that Will Myers is succeeding.
Still here?
And still here.
What you mean Grande, still here?
Grande, give me first thoughts, Grande, on Padre trades.
I am confused as to how to feel when your team is a buyer and not a seller. This is a feeling that I have never experienced here in San Diego, and it is a lovely, lovely thing. I'll tell you what. And I'm glad you brought up the Matt Kemp season, because the biggest difference, and that I believe is, I think it's pretty obvious, is when they brought in those pieces, they had nothing else. That's what they brought in. They had like no-name guys that they were bringing in, Kemp and Upton and Shields and the catcher who I forget his name. So those were that's all they had bringing in. The big difference is that they got like actual cornerstone pieces of the franchise already here, and they're adding to it, and it's a much, much different situation than it was then. And I know it's a 60-game season, but we're playing every game in September is going to matter. The Padres have the second most wins in the National League behind the Dodgers. They have the third best record in the National League behind the Dodgers and the Cubs. The Cubs played a lot less games. So I don't know how to feel. I'm nervous because there's so much to lose now, whereas opposed in other trade deadlines, you're just like, oh, here we go again. We're just whatever we got, bring on the prospects. Now you're trading away the prospects, and it's a new feeling. It's a nervous feeling, and it's an exciting feeling.
I want to say, though, as far as trading away the prospects, remember for how long we heard about how great the farm system is? Well, I said it back then, and I know I'm validated right now. No one cares. No one cares about how great the farm system is until you use the assets of the farm system to make the major league team competitive. And so I say again, building the farm system is great if you use the assets, not expect all of these guys to come up and be superstars, because many of them have already come up and many of them have already been shipped out. You know, we thought center field of the future. We thought second base of the future. Those guys aren't, I don't even know where they are in Major League Baseball, if they're even in Major League Baseball at this stage. What I think you've got is this, at least right now. You've got Myers and Hosmer, which those are big pluses because probably going into the season, you were down on those two guys and didn't know what to get. And you've got full-blown Manny Machado, and you've got on fire Fernando Tatis. With those four guys.
And Cronenworth, bro.
I don't want to take away from Cronenworth. What I'm just saying is those are the four guys you've got your money and your future invested into. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. And that's your core now. And Cronenworth, hey, listen, I hope he's part of it. I really do, because he's the underdog of it all. So I love that story. Okay. Padres making moves. They're all in. It's clearly the lead story for all of our San Diego listeners today. John Browner. 6'7", 135 pounds, twisted steel, sex appeal, Big Macs, big sacks. Bringing the street cred. Big Brown, good Monday. Your boy Will Myers is still with the team.
riding the I told you so train all the way past today's trade deadline, man. I told y'all this was the year to believe, but now I'm also a little skeptical now. I'll be honest with y'all. I'm always honest with y'all. I was honest when I told y'all how I felt about this team this year. I'm gonna be honest about y'all with these trades. Other than Clevinger, I don't like it. I don't like it. Two things are super underrated in sports. It's chemistry and hard work. A lot of guys at every major league level are talented, regardless of what sport you play. You have to be good to get to that point. That's not up for debate. But whether guys like each other and whether guys want to play hard for each other is the puzzle piece that made Phil Jackson great, that made Pat Riley great, that made every manager great, that made Bill Belichick great. That's how you mix the sauce. So if you're going to tell me that Tingler's the guy to now mix the sauce, I'm skeptical, man, because they say Clevinger's a weird dude. They say he's kind of like a hippie. So if you find him in OB doing who knows what, okay, then this might be a good place for him. And maybe Cleveland isn't the best place for him. I like the Clevinger, but outside of that, I'm good, bro. The chemistry was what was making this team work. Even now, this roster isn't better than the Dodgers, so you're going to have to rely on chemistry. I've never been a big farm system guy. I think farm system in baseball is a joke. It's used to pass around names that keep the fan base intrigued the same way it's done here for the Padres for the last 3 or 4 years. The farm system, the farm system, the farm system. And now here we are, and we're just giving these dudes away like hot potato chips. So whatever with that, but I'm always been excited about this team from the start of the season. I like the getting the headline pitcher. The rest of it, I don't know.
Let me ask you a question. Do people give away hot potato chips? Is that something that is like standard? Like that happens?
Oh, man, listen, if you ever had a hot potato chip, you'll know.
No.
Dude, when you go to a restaurant and then they offer you house chips instead of like fries and they're hot, it's bomb.
Yeah, those are good. At Brigantine, they're really good.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
They're giving them away.
But aren't you the guy, JP, that like you always talk about how individual baseball is and individual performances and individual this and that? Like 100%. I don't think they traded away a Franmil Reyes, you know, like they didn't trade away this guy that everybody rallied around. I don't think they did. At least like nobody was clamoring for Josh Naylor when he got sent to the taxi squad. We've all been bitching about Austin Hedges forever. I don't think that there's one particular guy that is like a glue or a big piece of chemistry. I think you kept those guys. You see Tatis dancing, you see Machado dancing. Hosmer's been the leader of the crew. Myers has never been part of anything. He's just like the outcast that's there. But I don't think from what I've seen, I don't think they traded away one of those guys.
But the question is whether they get back.
Right, exactly.
Right. Okay.
From a seller's perspective, yeah, that's the way to view it. We gave away these things. But now you're counting on the guys you're bringing in to produce. Right. You're counting on the guys you bring in to be everyday guys. Right. So these guys have to mesh. They have to.
Well, let me ask you a question. Isn't Clevinger? Just check me on this on Clevinger, okay?
Okay.
So, because I yesterday when these rumors started to come out about Clevinger being traded to the Padres, I went to the Cleveland Indians website to start looking up some statistics. Now, it just so happens by way of chance here, I follow the Indians, not like closely, not like I follow the Padres or the Dodgers, but I follow the Indians because my boy Bradley Zimmer is a center fielder with the Indians. And I went to look up their stats because I follow the Indians every day just to look in the box score to see how my boy Zimmer's doing. He hasn't played much recently. I think he's played like 20 games. And I know he wasn't hitting very well. And so I haven't seen him playing. I don't know. Maybe he's hurt. Although I looked up their injuries and didn't see him on there. So I look up Clevinger on the Indians stat lines, and he's not there. This is pre-trade. He wasn't there. So wasn't there a story, though, that Clevinger was one of the 2 Indian players that didn't that broke the quarantine?
Guy. Yeah.
He was the second guy.
Okay, so this gets to Browner's point that you think you've improved the team when you look at the statistics. We traded this guy, we got this guy. The guy we sent isn't as good as the guy we just got. Okay? That's fine. The statistics all might suggest that. But Clevinger couldn't be trusted by his teammates to keep the quarantine. Is that right? Is that the story?
Yeah, yes. Him and Plesac. Plesac was the guy that got dragged first because it went public that it was him first, Plesac. And then later on, you find out that it was also Clevinger, and that's when the Indians, like the leaders of their clubhouse, was just like, this is unacceptable. But it was also during the time when like the Cardinals were being quarantined, the Marlins were being quarantined. Like there were so many teams going through it that it just was a hot topic story.
And the question you have to ask yourself when it comes to a guy that good in such a premier position, why is the team just kind of like, oh, okay, you can have him, but they didn't ask for a whole bunch back. Obviously, they gave up a prospect, but if I'm the Indians, I'm looking to get way more than I did.
They didn't get like Max Scherzer, though. Like, yeah, he's good, but he's not like Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg.
But is he better than anyone we have?
Yeah, but that's not saying much this year.
So if I'm gonna give you now the best guy in your rotation, I'm gonna need more back. And they had other suitors.
They got a lot for him. Dude.
They did get a lot back. I mean, the Padres they gave up 2 top 10 prospects, regardless of how you feel about minor league rankings. I don't care. But they also gave up a major league pitcher who Cal Quantrill was, again, he was one of those guys that they talked about who had a real big future. So they're giving up now on a guy who may have a higher upside for a guy who's got better career stats and they think is a better player right now. Maybe 5 years from now, we might argue this, but that they've given up, it kind of seems like a pretty handsome amount, frankly.
Yeah, they didn't give up any like top prospect. I don't think the Padres were ever going to give up Gore, were ever going to give up Patino or Campusano. I don't think they're ever going to give up their top guys, and they didn't. So I don't see, if you're Cleveland, there's obviously more to the story. The guy was basically kicked out of the clubhouse almost. That's kind of definitely what it seems like.
Yeah,
Here's my thing. Madison Bumgarner, Zach Greinke, 2 well-known, not liked people. Weirdos. You put up with their antics, with their stuff, with whatever it is their personality is when you perform. And Clevinger is going to come in and have the opportunity to get a fresh start, first of all, in the clubhouse, with nobody like already hating him. And secondly, if he's performing, no one's going to care if he's doing dance circles on the OB drum circle. Like, who cares?
Me personally, I don't care what these guys do as long as they produce. But if you're in a locker room led by Machado and Tatis and probably Hosmer, depending on who you ask, they may be offended by some of this stuff. Again, this guy broke quarantine rules because he just wanted to do what he wanted to do.
Well, maybe
he lives in Cleveland.
Yeah,
true. But he was in Chicago.
Right, true. But maybe this guy, listen, I'll say this. You know, maybe he's like learned his lesson as in, oh, hey, hold on a second here. Gosh, I didn't realize everybody was going to get so bent out of shape about this thing.
Definitely.
You know, like, I mean, who knows really what the circumstances were? Look, I'm not trying to defend the guy because I don't know him. I don't know his background. I just know this. Statistically speaking, the Padres get this guy, Mike Clevinger, and frankly, he's now the number 1 guy in your rotation, isn't he?
Easily.
Pretty much.
Easily.
I mean, essentially.
Paddock had a good performance, but I think Lamet is still probably number 1 because Lamet has played very, very well. He's pitched super well this year. But Clevinger's up there now. And that's, you know, when you have bullpen days like they did the other day and they just tax their bullpen and they end up losing in the 9th inning because Stammen sucks, like you need another starting pitcher, and they got that. Cal Quantrill was like the Band-Aid, you know. He was the one coming in from the bullpen going 3 or 4 innings, and he was doing great in that role. But they got someone that could possibly get past the 6th inning, which would be nice for a change.
But again, when you talk about them running someone out there on the mound, whose decision is that? It takes me back to my first initial point. You're trying to ask a first-year man, and this is what Heath Bell always talks about. You're asking a first-year manager to do veteran manager things. And I don't know if this is the guy that we've been waiting for 2020 in San Diego, California for a very long time. Okay. Heads were supposed to roll if 2020 didn't work out. And this is the guy you've entrusted with heads rolling or not.
I like how you you question Jace Tingler, but you defended the hell out of Andy Green. It makes no sense to me.
No, because I honestly believe Andy Green got the short end of the stick, no pun intended. Because managers don't really.
Because he's short?
Yeah. Managers don't really do anything.
Is that why there was no pun intended?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about how short Andy Green was for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't kick a guy when he's going out the door. This is why you got rid of Andy Green for decision making. And now Tingler has told you on multiple times he's got poor decision making when it comes to pitchers.
I'm not positive that's the case. Just by the way, I'm not positive.
Here comes the defender. Look at this defender.
I'm not positive that Andy Green was fired for his managerial decision making, in as much as Andy Green may have been fired for not really being a guy who could do what this team, not Jace Tingler, but what this team has already done, which is become a cohesive unit, become a family, become a place where we watch them. They're all having fun. Your whole point today is chemistry.
Yes.
Okay. Did they send guys out that were chemistry guys and piss off the clubhouse? I don't think so.
I would agree with that.
Did they bring in guys that can easily mesh into the chemistry of the team? Zero idea today. Don't know yet.
I agree with that.
Not sure. Okay. But I would say this. Will Myers is performing this year. Is it because he hated Andy Green and there was problems there? Is it because there's nobody in the stands and Will Myers doesn't feel pressure? I don't know what the answer is, but I'm just telling you that this is a much better team, obviously. Tatis did not play enough games last year, and who knows what his full rookie season might have been. Tatis has become one of the star faces of the league. Machado is performing the way we all expected when he got $30 million a year. Will Myers is finally playing up to his contract. Hosmer has played really, really well. By the way, Myers is set in right field now for the most part. I mean, there a lot of good things have happened.
Yeah, like we're focusing on Clevinger, but they also went out, upgraded their catching position offensively tremendously. They even got a guy from the Angels who should be better defensively than the guy from the Mariners because he's not so great back there. They actually got a DH now from the Red Sox who's performing very well this season. So, yeah, we're focusing on Clevinger because he's the big name, but they also got some relief pitching that they desperately needed. They upgraded the catcher. They got a DH. The Padres today are better than they were before they went into the weekend.
Certainly on paper. No doubt on paper. But here's the thing. How you just described it, Alex, is perfect. What was wrong with this team? Their catcher can't hit. Their relief pitching can't relieve. And it would be great to have just even more firepower with the bat, not because they weren't exciting offensively and scoring a bunch of runs, 13 of them yesterday, but they'll never be able to keep up with the Dodgers, who have not yet lost a series so far this season. They've gone 12 series and they've not lost one. And they just got done hitting more home runs than anybody in a month. And I don't remember if it's like third all time or if it's first all time, but the Dodgers are hitting more home runs. The Dodgers are winning more games. The Dodgers are winning more series. So if you're AJ Preller, you say, okay, what do we need to do? Got to improve the catcher position, particularly on the offensive side. Would love to add another bat and somebody who's, a utility player who can play a lot of different positions. And we got to do something about a starting pitcher and relief pitching. They just went out and did everything that they wanted to do.
And guys that are not here for just 30 games.
Yes.
Guys that they have under control for numerous seasons, which is even a better deal than AJ got. Rockstar GM is back. I tweeted it yesterday. Rockstar GM is back.